You're listening to the You Don't Know Me Yet Podcast Network.
There they go. Okay. All right. Is this good? Do I need to fix this lighting?
Nope. You're
No,
perfect.
you look good.
You're perfect.
Okay.
Producer said thumbs up.
Oh, well, that's what I be looking for. I just want to make sure my hat is right and my lighting looks good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I get bow tie is spiffy. Look at you.
Thank you.
Looking spiffy the way you want to look.
Thank you. But I want that shirt. I'd rather be in that shirt right about now.
Hey, man. I got the boots to match it.
You do?
I'm telling, she is such a fashionista. Like, I mean, she came out with the bodysuit in Atlanta, and then I was with the cape on it. I was like, oh, okay, this is what we doing.
You have to understand that normally when I perform, when Monique and I are out on the road, it's one of those, when they send the emails, they be like, okay, Correy, make sure all your parts are covered. Because, I'm one of them push the envelope. It's either going to be short or see-through or not quite my size. I'm doing that kind of thing. And so for that one, I was like, oh, no, I'm going to cover from head to toe. Let's see how this, and they were like, I'm like, yeah, I know. Y'all didn't think I could do it, but I did. I pulled it off.
You did. You was fine, too. I was like, okay.
We had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great time.
Yeah, I've seen some of the pictures in your promos and things of that nature, and I did note that you're always very fashionable. So
you know what? I appreciate that. I try my best. I grew up with a designer for a mother. So my mom was a fashion designer, so I kind of grew up on the runway. So yeah, I'm not one of those jogging suits and Uggs type of girl. Even though that's what I'm wearing right now from the waist down, you'd be like, where are you going? But from the part that y'all see.
Right, that's the only part that matters.
I'm out here.
Tell us a little bit about that, the growing up with a fashion designer mom.
Oh, you talking about late nights, early mornings, plenty of stick pins. Yeah, you were always getting poked because you always had to be the mannequin or the dummy that was trying on the clothes, whether they were for you or not. But growing up on the runway is one of those, it's one of the things that led me to always believe that every walkway is a runway and every stage is a red carpet. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to always show up in something because that's just, that it was the way that I was raised. My mother taught us that when you leave the house, look like you're going somewhere, and people that don't have anything to do pretty much won't approach you because you won't, you look like you have this sense of urgency. And for the most part, it worked. I mean, there was a couple of little Tonys and Andrews that would try it, but for the most part, you leave out the house like there's going to be a camera somewhere, and I do.
I like that.
Does that change your approach when you go shopping? I mean, do you look at clothes different than the average person looks at clothing?
Yes, because there are certain sections that you'll probably like. I'm if I have 5 pairs of jeans, I'll be doing really well. With over 300 pairs of shoes, probably 8 or 9 of them, maybe 10 now, because I've joined the Nike Dunks crew. I like Dunks now, so I've started picking up on those a lot more. But 95% of my shoe closet is a stiletto, is a heel, a couple of wedges, but I don't look at that. I'm going for the head turners. Like, that's what I do. So I put unique pieces together, things like that. I just love when I walk outside to feel as good as I look. And the only way to do that is to put the clothes. You got to put the clothes on, baby. Mm-hmm. My mother right now would be yelling at me because I'm doing this interview. And while y'all think I'm flying, right now she's going, where are your earrings? That's what she's saying. Where are your earrings? I hear you. Oh, I know. I couldn't find them. I don't know where they are.
Well, no one would have noticed until you said it. So yeah, you camouflaged
well,
it. The hat. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The hat threw it off. No one even notices.
You could say, "Mom, the studs were on my shirt."
Right. Yeah, I don't think I needed any more bling. I'll watch this. I got something.
Oh.
Don't worry about it. I found one, and that's really all you need. You just grab one. And now I've made a statement.
There you go.
Got it. So our conversation was so good that we forgot to do our opening Correy.
We
What's
didn't
up
even
with
do
that?
an opening.
No, so that's okay. The audience is still with us, so we're gonna do that. Okay.
They don't even know who they're talking to.
They have no idea who they're talking to. So let's start with this. I have in studio the one and only Miss Holly Cotton.
Hello, host of Beyond the Fit. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And what are we doing together today?
So basically, Jamie and I, since we're both in Houston, we wanted to come together, and especially for today, because we think that Correy B is so fabulous and we're fighting over her time. So we figured, you know what? Why not come together and have a bomb show with the three of us?
and make her decide who she likes better.
Yeah. At the end, Correy has to vote.
You won't put that pressure on me because I'm definitely gonna choose now. How about that?
We're in rock the vote season now, Correy. So we're gonna make you vote. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, the topic was about single lives and marriage lives, but I think that we're a little beyond that now. I'm going to just talk about who our guest is. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So you met this wonderful guest and helped bring her to the attention of our collective shows, and I'm going to read her bio. So Correy B is a Chicago native. Correy is one of the featured comics on the new Showtime special, Monique and Friends. She's also featured in a few episodes of the TV show Laugh Mob's Laugh Tracks on True TV. Correy shared the stage with Monique on her 7-month Las Vegas residency, and they currently tour the country together. She recently performed on both the historic Apollo Theater and Apollo Comedy Club in New York. Congratulations, Correy. And you can also catch her jokes on Kevin Hart's LOL station on Sirius Satellite Radio. She shared the stage across the country with greats such as the late Dick Gregory, Michael Blackson, Genuine, and many more. And without further ado, welcome to the show, Miss Correy B.
That was such a great introduction. I almost forgot who you were talking about. I'm like, man, who is that? She is something. It's something.
Well, we know her, so we know we can connect you if at any point you're interested in meeting her.
I'd appreciate that. How y'all doing?
We good. We woke up today, so I'm not complaining.
We cannot complain. We're doing really, really well. Listen, I'd rather be seen than viewed, honey. That's for sure.
So first, what I wanted to ask you, Correy, because I know that I follow you on Instagram, and I know that you kind of have a unique story of how Monique and you kind of connected. And I know that you had posted recently about, I think you said it was like 4 years ago, and you tagged her in a post. And I was just like, oh my God, that is such an awesome story. So can you tell us about that?
It was really, really crazy. Everybody that knows me knows that I've always been a Monique fan. And it was just I'm one of those crazy manifest people that's like, say it till you see it. And then when you say it, just make sure you're working on it until you see it. And just recently, right before then, maybe about 2 or 3 years right prior to then, I went to a concert. I went to a Jill Scott concert. And in the middle of the concert, it wasn't even the middle, honey, she had just sang one song. We heard a big boom and all the power went out in the entire building. They had to cancel the concert. But on the way out, the lights came back on and I was standing right next to Monique's picture on that wall. And then I had my husband take a picture of me pointing to the picture because I said, one day my picture is going to be right next to hers. So fast forward a year, I saw that she was coming to Chicago. And I just put up a post that said, yo, y'all tag Monique and tell her to let me do 5 minutes. And it wasn't even 5 minutes. I don't even know if there were 10 tags on that post, but she responded and was like, yo, meet me at the club on Friday. And I was like, no. But the thing was, that was all she said. There was no inboxes of, okay, you need to arrive at this time and you need to, talk to this person or whatever. So it was just like, meet me at the club. Now, in my mind, I'm going, this is going to be like that episode of Martin when he was on the Varnell Hill show and he was supposed to get the 5 minutes, and he ended up having a bum rush the stage with Casey and JoJo. Remember that?
I remember.
I was completely prepared to just kind of bump, because I'm like, they don't know me. So I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to, again, step out on faith. I'm going to just show up and see how this goes. But the confirmation that I got was the morning of the morning of the show. She went on to our radio station, and someone said, hey, we heard you got Correy B opening up for you. And she was like, listen, I don't know who this Correy B is, but the second that I told her, to come and join us, the tickets sold out. People were DMing me and was like, oh, you're going to love her. And I was like, oh, she remembered. She remembered. So when I showed up, my name was at the door. I could not believe it, y'all. I put my Sunday's best on. I let somebody do my makeup, and it was so terrible.
Give their name. No, just kidding. Don't do that.
Right. I had on so much bronzer. I looked like the Tin Man. Like, I literally was like, I've got to fix this. But the shorter version of that is, I went up, I met her and I asked her, I said, hey, is there anything that you want me to stay away from? And she basically said, those people out there bought tickets to see me. I want you to make them want to come back to see you. Don't leave anything on the table. So I went out, I did my 5 minutes. The crowd went crazy. I came back into the back dressing room and she was crying. And I was like, oh, I done messed up. Like, what did I do? What did I say? I'm running things through my head. And she looked at me and she said, I've been looking for you. Oh. I've been looking for somebody that I can pour all of my knowledge into. I've been looking for somebody that I can give information to, and it's you. And she invited me back to do the rest of the weekend. And it was history from there. Like, literally, we were supposed to go and finish the tour together. And after the first date, she was like, I'm canceling the tour. I'm so sorry, da, 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 da. And before I could get sad, she was like, but I'm doing a residency in Las Vegas. Would you like to join me on this residency? So we've literally been joined at the hip ever since October of 4 years ago.
Most people, well, first, that's a wonderful story.
Very.
So thanks for taking us inside of that. That's a dream scenario.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And the fact you were ready to perform. I mean, most of us have ambitions, right? We're like, yeah, the Chicago Bulls are going to call me and I'm going to, but then when they do, it's like, oh, I forgot my inhaler. People aren't really ready. So how were you ready for that moment?
Again, like I said, with being able to say it until you see it, and then you prepare yourself after you say it. When I pointed to that picture and say, one day, my picture's going to be right next to hers. Now I have to put in the work until whenever it happens. I feel like whenever that moment, whatever it is, when it happens because you've shown that you're ready for that moment. Or you're so arrogant that God and the universe would be like, oh, you think you can do it? Let's go ahead and see you try. So I think that I just stayed on stage. But you're never ready to meet somebody like Monique. Like a queen of comedy, Adele, like you're never ready for that kind of energy. But it was magnetic. It was twin flames. And so we done had some moments now. I want you to hear me. I'd have been on that stage and came off. And she has looked at me like, okay, let's have a conversation. But it was always in love and in concern. It was never I'm the boss, I'm Mr. Miyagi and you are, Danielson. It's never been like, it's always been out of love and a place of teaching. And I'm grateful for those lessons, every last one of them.
I love that. And what I also wanted to just kind of sidebar about whenever you were talking about just you and Monique and I just feel like now we are in a season where women as comedians are being more embraced and it's more acceptable now. I think you guys are kind of saying, hey, y'all are going to respect us in this field now and we deserve this, especially with everything now happened with Monique. I don't want to talk about her, but I'm just saying like, it's about the respect that comes from a woman and then doing something that's predominantly women, predominantly a man's field. So for anyone that's looking at you, because now, just like you looked up to Monique, there are comedians that are looking up to you. Like, oh my God, I want to be like Correy B now, like Correy B. So what advice do you have for any women that are trying to follow in your footsteps?
First of all, please do not try to be like Correy B. I got a lot of kids and a lot of debt. Like, you don't want to, that's not who you want to be. But no, I think it has always been funny to me to see comedy being such a male dominated field, yet comedy is not gender specific. You know what I'm saying? Like, women can tell jokes, men can tell jokes, but it's always been that difference there. There has been this stereotype put on, especially Black female comics, that we only talk about our weight, dating, and our kids and sex. Like, that's all we talk about. And so we kind of got put into a box to where it's like you'll never see a flyer with 3 women and only 2 men. Men will always dominate the flyer, and if it's a flyer, it has to be all ladies, or it's a ladies' night. You know, even when they bring you to the stage, it's coming to the stage next is a female. It's a woman. Y'all want to hear comedy from a woman's point of view, as if, like, what does that even mean? Like, comedy is not gender specific. So I had to learn that I had to be fearless before I could be funny. Like, I have to make sure that, because in Chicago, let me tell you something, baby, we do comedy in places that they don't want comedy. We in the bars, we in the lounges. I've done comedy in a bookstore. I've done comedy in a church. Like, these are not comedy clubs. And so before I can even tell one joke, I got to give them a reason to listen to me. So I had to gain my courage and my standing power. And that ain't hard to do when you're a mother of 5 and you got to command the house sometimes when daddy ain't here, you know? So I personally would basically tell female comics is know your stuff. You know what I'm saying? And stand on it. Like, be fearless and be unapologetically funny. Like, be who you are. And you don't have to bow down or be subjected to anything that a male comic wouldn't, be subjected to just because our genders are different. Go out on that stage every single time. Be unapologetic, be unwavering, be fearless. And understand that you have a gift. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not doing what we had to do years ago. Like, we're literally walking in a light, and I'm so proud of female comics right now.
That's a great answer. Good advice.
When you are honing your craft and you're perfecting, these are the kinds of jokes I'm going to say on this day in this location. What is that preparation and practice like for you to know this joke hits this way, this timing is what I need to hold between the punch, and the setup? What is your preparation like?
Okay, so you're going to think I'm crazy, right? I do not write because I believe that jokes are all around you 24/7. What you eat, what you see, what you hear, how you react in certain situations. So the majority of my material is born on stage. So normally the way that I do it is I'm always recording audio. I always record audio, and then I go back and I listen to it, and then I'll build from there. But 95% of the stuff that I talk about is like real life stuff. And it's just been inflated with imaginary situations or jokes. That's why it's easy for me to tell them, because it's the stuff that I live. When I talk about, falling down the stairs at my husband's job, that really happened.
Oh my God, that was so funny, Correy B.
Friend, I still don't go to his job to this day because some of them people still work there. Okay. And they seen my butt because I fell. Okay. So that's real life story. But like, kid named Juicy, real life story. Accidentally eating edibles and getting so high for 3 days that I did. Those are stories that actually happened. But the mechanics of punching them up, I do that on stage. So what I do to prepare, I guess to answer your question, is I build it on stage and then I stay on stage. I hit the open mics with 2-3 people in them, just like I would showing up to a theater with 2,000-3,000 people. No stage is too small because I got to get in the gym and work that material out. But I wish that I could sit down and like conventionally like just write and read it and go back. My brain don't think like that. It's like, what happened yesterday? Talk about that and then build on that. And that's kind of how I build it.
It's a good advice. Well, I told you after I saw you in Atlanta, when you came upstairs, I was like, Correy, you had us dying because everything you said about 40s, I'm not going to share your joke, but you had, and I even like kind of paraphrased something to one of my friends, like that was so realistic. So yeah, definitely what you're doing is the way to do it because that stuff hit home.
Ain't it? Like, really, seriously, over 40, your life just completely changed. I had no idea because I had never been 40 before. But, baby, 40 is different. I'm looking forward to 50, but 40 now.
It's the level you want to be a fine 40-year-old. Like you said, you were like, I'm too young for these, but I'm too old
to hang with them. So I'm the middle child. 40 is the middle child. But you really learn some stuff at 40. Like, I didn't know that my bones got cold. Like bypass the skin and the muscle. And like today in Chicago is 26 degrees, baby. My bones is cold. I've never experienced that kind of to my bones.
So you blame that on the 40s. You blame that on, okay.
Because in your 30s, you can still run outside without a coat on. Now, you might cuss when you get to the car.
Yes.
But like now, I don't want my bones to be cold. I got to put a scarf on. I got to wrap up now. It's different. 40 different. You can't be 20
going out to the club. Oh my God. I went out and I literally, all I could hear was your voice in my head about how at 11:59.
Baby, don't your 40 kick in?
You was starting and stuff.
I was starting at 11:59, but at 40, I wanted them to turn the heat up and turn the lights up and turn that music down.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
Yeah. And one of the things that I want to tell you, if you are listening to this podcast, you tell me why, and I want them to tell you guys, why is it that we think that just because it's our birthday and it's wintertime, that it's okay to pull out the open-toe shoes and the clothes with no sleeve? Like just because it's our birthday, the rules change? No, I still get cold on my birthday. I'm not putting no sandals on because they go with this cute dress. No, that's not the way. That's 20-year-old crazy. So you can do that at 20. Can't do that at 40. You end up with pneumonia.
And everybody trying to say, now she knows she's too old to be having them open-toe shoes on and it's 20 degrees.
See?
I love it.
Sorry, you can't relate because you ain't wearing no open toe.
Right. Well, no. Listen, men go through different things. Like when I turned 40, I got my first gray hair on my chin. You know how bad that was for me?
I ain't got no gray yet, and if I did, I've got it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, we can appreciate. I think as a man listening to a female comedian, I appreciate the material the same. As I do listening to a male comedian, although there are some things that I can relate to when a male comedian is talking, like, approaching a woman for a date or something along those lines. I'm like, yeah, okay, I've been there. But then you hear it from the female perspective and it's like a refresher. It's like a whole refreshing feeling like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way. So I think that what you guys in the comedian space are doing is great. It's fantastic. You referenced that you were doing a residency in Las Vegas. And for the world that's not familiar with what that means, you had a ongoing comedy routine at a very specific location in Las Vegas for 7 months. Talk to us about what that experience is like, because most people don't and will never know what it's like to have a residency in Vegas.
Let me tell you, I am 8 years old in comedy. 8 years. I've only been doing it. I just turned 8 years old in November, early November. And this ride has literally moved so fast that I haven't had a chance to catch my breath. Like within the first year, I think is when I was doing laugh tracks. Then the whole thing with it just has taken off like crazy. So when I got to Vegas, that's a different world. That is a different world. And let me be specific. It's only a 2-man show. It's me and then it's Mo. And that's it. There's no host to bring me up. There's no opener. No, it's you go out there to a cold audience and tell them who you are. And the good thing about Vegas is the people that come to the shows are not from Vegas. Mm. They are from all over the world because that's what people come. You know, when they come from out of town, they go to Vegas, they want to party, they come to the show. So I've sat and been in front of audiences where there were no one in the audience that looked like me. There were people that spoke different languages that still came to the show. We did a show one night that neither one of us were prepared for because we didn't know about it. But there was a convention in town for the legally blind. And one night they bought out the entire theater. Nobody told us, nobody warned us. And at some point in the show, I think in the beginning, I was telling the people to clap their hands or stand on their feet or whatever. And I looked over at one guy and I was like, oh, you so cool with your sunglasses on that you can't stand up and dance with us.
Ooh.
And he was like, that's because I'm blind. And I was like, and then somebody yelled out, we're all blind. And they turned the house lights up. And all you saw were glasses and canes and people with their and they were laughing. They thought it was the funniest. I have never been so embarrassed in my life, but they thought it was amusing. So if we're going to be amused, I didn't tell Monique either before I brought her out. So she got the same experience.
The hard way.
Baby, when I tell you I had never had so much fun, it was like, you never know what you're going to get. And the good thing about Vegas is because the people are from everywhere, it helps you to you learn to tailor your jokes so that everybody can understand and that they can relate and they can laugh. So there are certain jokes that I'll tell a certain way when I'm, at the Apollo in New York in front of all, mostly Black crowd or, a crowd just of color. Then if I go to Canada this weekend, I did a convention for about 300 Canadian men from a tech company. That show is completely different than what's going on in Vegas. But what I do is I bring them into my world. I don't try to go out and let me relate to you. No, let me help you guys relate to the world that I live in. So it was a great training ground, and I got to meet a lot of people that I looked up to.
That's a very good perspective. I'm gonna bring you in because a lot of times that I've seen comedians where they're like fishing, like they're trying to see what the crowd is. So I like that.
Yeah, your goal is to get them to understand you, not for you to try to go and relate to them. See, when they come to the shows, you're now in my house. I'm the employer. I'm not the employee. So I'm going to take you on a ride so that you get to know me. I don't want to get out to know, oh, well, when's your birthday? Well, who you're married to? I mean, it's good for conversation starters, but you came to see me, to learn about me, to know about me in this comedic way. And that's what I used to bring them in.
So, Correy, you're about to go on stage.
Yes.
And the lights dim and perhaps somebody has warmed up the crowd for you, perhaps they haven't. What is in your mind as it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, go?
I gotta pee or I gotta throw up.
Okay.
Every time. The nerves, the butterflies, the shakes, every single time, because you don't know who's in that audience. You don't know who's out there. You don't know if they spent their last dollars to come and see you, if they were coming out of a depression, if they're battling cancer, or somebody just came because they're celebrating. You don't know who's in that audience. And your job right now is to bring them the gift of laughter. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. I hope they can relate. But if not, I'm gonna stick with it until I do. But yeah, I either gotta pee right now as they're calling my name, or I want to throw up just a little bit, because you gotta also just respect the craft. I'm never too arrogant to say, I'm going out there and they gonna laugh at me. You don't know that because you've never met these people before. So yeah, I'm a nervous wreck.
And is there a I got them moment? I got them. Like the crowd you just delivered something perfectly and you just know, boom, I've arrived.
Yes. and it's normally very early in the beginning. Like I said, I have to establish who I am, because a lot of times, especially when I'm the feature, they're not here to see me. You know what I'm saying? So I have to say, hey, I know y'all came to see, but guess what? They ain't ready. And this is who you got. And it helps them to because I'm gonna tell you something. People will pay $5 for a ticket and be like, they better make me laugh and turn over and flip out my chair. And I'm like, no, don't put that kind of pressure on me. Like, so I definitely go out and establish, hey, this is who I am. This is how I run my show. All right, now we can get into it. So I pull them in immediately and get their attention. Once I get their attention, I can take them on the ride. So yeah, I'm going out and I'm establishing dominance, and this is my house early, and I got something to say. And that crowd normally right at the beginning just goes up immediately. So.
And so, Correy, let me ask you this. And I also, I like to have transparency whenever I'm talking to people. And because we always go through and we're like, we kind of highlight all the great things that are going on and all the happy stuff and all the wins. And a lot of times that's great because people are using that as a motivation. People are like, oh, wow, if she did it, I can do it. But was there a moment when, or a situation or something that happened where you started questioning, is this really the path that I want to go down? Did something happen where obviously now, you know, thankfully everything is worked out. But was there a point where you were kind of like at that crossroads and you were like, this is some BS. I don't even know if I want to do this.
You have that moment every other month.
Oh,
it passes, but there's been times, I'll tell you, when I started comedy full time, I just separated from my job at Groupon, which I loved so much. Separated, quit, got fired, whatever. I wasn't there no more. Okay, don't worry about which one it was. Okay, I got fired. Okay, let's just talk about it. They fired me December 1st, and I'll never forget that my husband looked at me and he said, if this is what you want to do, take 6 months. I got the bills. Don't worry about nothing. Just go out and explore. And if it works in 6 months, you just keep going. But if it don't work, you work. And I was like, okay, deal. And it was very fun because in the beginning, I wasn't really making any money, but I was able to hit the stages. But once I had gotten to a place, even outside of that 6 months, to where I was making money, again, I think that this all, again, it may happen to the male comedians, but it always seems to happen to female comedians where we'll get to a show, you know, we'll perform our best. And at the end of the show, you'll have a promoter or whoever's throwing the show go, oh, let me just slide you, you know, a couple of dollars because the show didn't do what it was supposed to do. Now, we've already agreed on the amount. This is why I'm here. This is why I show up and I give my all, and then they'll try to, you know, slight you on the money. And then there've been some shows where you show up and it's only 4 people in the audience and it's like, you don't get anything. And it's like, how do you tell your family that you went out with the last of the gas in the car in hopes to get paid, only for them to be like, yeah, we ain't got it? You know, what do you do? And it's like, God, I know that this ain't how you intended for me to live. Like, I like this dream, but how bad do I want it? And I had to learn really to just kind of trust the process. But it's not a good feeling when you got to come home and look at your husband or your kids and be like, man, I've been gone and now it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm coming home empty handed. Yeah, the crowd made me feel good, but I can't pay my bills with what the crowd is giving me. But I had to learn how to trust it and know that everything, when you're doing it the right way, it has to work out. And every single time, it has always worked out. Probably not the way that I expected it to, but whatever it was that I was supposed to have, I've gotten. And what's mine has not missed me yet. But that's a hard place to be in when you don't have no money, when they bumping you off shows, when the lineup is supposed to be one way and then they make it another way and you've had your mindset, you know, like it can get really, really, really cutthroat. Then they talk about like joke thieves and people being assaulted on the road and having to sleep with certain people to get certain, like, thank God that I've never had that. And it might be because people know my husband and he's like 6'2", 260, and he don't really play that. But
that helps.
Some of those, he's not that guy to play with. Like he eat people, like for real. Like don't play with his wife. But it really has, I've had some situations to where I've come home broke. I've come home broken because I looked up to a certain comic, and when I finally meet them, they're not who I thought that they were. And it's like, wow. And you then learn that you don't want to be that person. But anything that belongs to me, that's mine, stages, shows, TV shows, movies, as long as I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it right now, it will never miss me. And I have to be okay with saying I didn't get that because it wasn't mine. It belongs to someone else. And because of that, those bad things or the downsides, I use that as a lesson and not as a loss. But it ain't easy, child.
You know what, Correy B, you got me pumped up, Corey. I'm ready to go win today. What I need to do? Like, you got me all pumped up. I know.
Come on,
I know. I'm like, it's like, game time. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Jamie. You have a question?
No, listen, I was just watching the game time happen.
Corey B got me.
You got to look at it that way. My husband has to have surgery tomorrow. First time it's ever had. So he played basketball for 36 seconds, tore his Achilles, and now will be out until April. It took him longer to put his shoes on than it did for him playing this game. But he was worried. You know, he's like, I'm out till April. That means that I have to cancel all of my out-of-town gigs so that I can be home to take care of him. So he like, man, that's my income. That's your income. And even now, I'm okay with knowing that we'll be fine. Like we'll be good, because what's the sense of worrying? What belongs to us won't miss us, and we'll be fine. I said all that to say, if y'all got some more room on that podcast, if y'all hire,
we got you.
No, but
Corey, we be laughing too much. We couldn't even do the guess.
Yeah, so it won't miss me.
You know, Corey, you said something that made me think of an expression that I heard. I don't even know who created the expression. No, it's not my own, Holly, by the way. But this expression that says, don't meet your heroes. Don't meet your heroes. And so when you were talking about some of the people in your mind that you had built them up in your mind to be a certain way, or they had presented themselves as a certain way, but their reality was very different.
Yes.
And you didn't let that shake you. So what is it about you or your life experiences that has allowed you to prevail when you've had these, appearances where you didn't get paid, or you met somebody that disappointed you, or that you were just mishandled in a certain way? How have you bounced back from that?
I have an amazing family. My husband is literally my best friend. He is my biggest cheerleader. He is my stylist. Just so y'all know, most of this, he picked this out. I ain't even picked this out. Like this, like but he is, and my children are amazing. And I think one of the things that helped me is when I come home disappointed or broken or discouraged, my husband is one of them people that be like, yo, what you want me to do? What we doing about it? Let's have some cake and talk about it in bed. Like I literally don't have to be anybody other than mom or wife or best friend when I get home. My children let me know very early on that I was not in their top 5 of comedians. Okay, I want y'all to take a listen to what I'm saying. I'm not in the 5. Okay,
them little bastards, they always got something. It'd be your own. It'd be your own blood.
It'd be your own, and they'd be like, "Mom, we want to meet so and so," and I'm like, "Well, I'm right here on TV." Like, they'd be like, yeah, like Showtime would literally be playing my episode from Monique and Friends, and my kids would be like, that's nice, but are you making mashed potatoes to go with this chicken? So to be able to come home and just be loved on, in those discouraging moments. And I know I look at some of my friends who don't have that. I look at some people that I look up to who their circle is not really their circle. It's just a bunch of yes men on the payroll who will tell them whatever it is that they want to hear in order to stay in those good graces. And I am so lucky to be able to be married to someone Not only have we been together for a long time, but he's a musician, and he toured with a lot of great people. So he understands the late nights, the early mornings, the I got to catch a flight right now. I just put him out of my bedroom so that I can do this interview with y'all, even though he should be like that support system is so important. It really is.
Well, there's a lot of single people saying, one, does he have a brother? Number two, there's a lot of husbands who are getting a side eye right now from their wife. So, but it's great that there is a positive family figure that you can talk about who is a minority male. It doesn't have to be a minority male, it could be a minority female, but it's great that there is a positive family figure, because I feel like a lot of the representations of the brown, black experience doesn't necessarily highlight the wonderful relationship that can develop, the support system, the loving parent, the loving spouse. And so hearing you share that, I think can be a very, very good example for generations to follow, and that we're not, necessarily what we might see in pop culture.
Yeah, I think it's important to always make sure that my family knows, how hard I'm going for them. A lot of the stuff that I do, a lot of the people that I meet, a lot of the things that I put myself in a certain position so that when my children decide what it is that they want to do, what they want to be, who they want to be, those kind of things. I want to there are a lot of these relationships I make because I want to make sure that my children are also good. You know what I'm saying? Like my work ethic is dumb. Like it's crazy. I have 5 children and 2 grandchildren. Yes, I'm somebody's grandmother. You see it. Come on. What the heck?
The fine auntie. Yes.
And come on. I'm all of that. But so I can't allow them to be lazy because their parents are not that. I can't allow them to make excuses because their parents make it happen. We can't make excuses. We got to make it happen. So the same thing that I want my children to be, I try to be that example. When we got so many influences, our kids right now are influenced by everything because they got it all right at their hands. So I have to be very careful about, number one, what I expose them to or who I expose them to, and who I expose myself to. Because sometimes, like I said, them people that I've met that disappointed me, the one thing that I learned from that is don't be them. You know what I'm saying? Never be them. And I watch people, again, not to even bring it back up, but I watch people like Monique, even after we've done 2 shows and it's midnight, stand and shake hands and hug and take pictures with everybody until that last person that was in line get the same hug as the person from the beginning. I watch how she treats the staff when we go to these comedy clubs. Like the stuff that I'm learning from her is more off stage than on stage, because on stage is the gift. Like you can't teach that. You got to be born with that. You can teach the mechanics, but you can't teach the gift. But how I'm watching how she operates in love with everybody around her lets me know that, one way is right and one way is real. It's funky. And I didn't like that feeling. So it's a reminder for me to always pass on that love. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's at home or when people see me, people are noticing me. Okay. Okay. People are noticing me. Like I go in the store and people be like, you that girl? And I'll be like, yep. And that lady was like, you that girl that hit my car with your basket.
Don't say yes too early.
Right.
Finish the sentence. You're the girl.
Yeah. I was too excited, but people are noticing me. And I always want to make sure that I give them the same excitement and love that they give me now.
Love that. I love that. And that's why you keep winning. And Correy, I wanted to piggyback on what you said earlier whenever you were talking about your husband and him having surgery, because I just want to remind the mofos that's listening, because they're like, oh, she got on and now she's about to fall off. No, we not falling off. So I want you to let them know how you winning this year. You still working. What's some of the stuff you doing? Like remind folks that I can take whatever I need off because, baby, I'm still winning. My schedule is still full. So tell us about some of the projects you have coming up.
Listen, I need people to know that just because I'm home don't mean that I'm home. Okay. Again, we got 5 kids, so we are rotating on this nurse schedule because while I'm home, I am still working. And I do have some great projects coming out. I am doing a couple shows if you are in Chicago. I am doing Zany's Comedy Club on 12/12, which is my sister girl Monique's birthday. That's going to be that's an amazing show. Actually, next weekend, this coming up holiday weekend, if you guys are downtown shopping, I have 4 shows this weekend at the Comedy Bar, which is right on the Magnificent Mile where you shop. Like, you can stop there, get some pizza, and then keep shopping. But come laugh with me. That's 4 shows. And then the biggest show of all, my birthday. I always do it big for my birthday. So this year, we're doing a 43 Shades of Brown gala. And then the next day is the 7th annual offensive t-shirt comedy show. I like offensive t-shirts. I like things because why not? Right. We got to learn how to laugh again. Like we've gotten to a place where everybody is so tense and so scared of cancel culture that we've forgotten that these are jokes. I tell people every time I'm on stage, I am a comedian and we're at a comedy club. The things that I say on this stage, it does not have to be right. It doesn't have to be true. I only have to be funny. That's my only job. And I need you to pull out and go to the land of make-believe with me. And they're like, okay, well, let's go to make-believe. And then I tell them how Batman is my daddy. He's my real daddy. I'll share that story with y'all later. But definitely 12:30, that ugly sweater. That's a whole nother party, child. The offensive t-shirt comedy show. January, I'm going to a place I've never been before. Fargo. I'm going to Fargo.
What is that?
Minnesota.
Idaho? Oh, Minnesota. Thank you.
Fargo. Not North Dakota. Now, there was a movie made after. Maybe it was North Dakota. Fargo.
We're gonna have. We're gonna place
Jamie
a dollar bet.
We just sideboard on that earlier, and I was like, "Look, math and geography; those are not my fortes. I'm a nurse."
We do English and biology. Fargo, North. I'm almost sure it's North Dakota.
Don't worry, Jamie. What happened? It's North
Dakota.
I
know he's gonna have an answer.
It's North Dakota. You're right.
Fargo, North Dakota. I'm going. I don't know who's in Fargo.
That just shows how Black people never go to North Dakota. We don't even know what's in North Dakota.
Well, one of us is going.
Is it Black people in Fargo?
That's right. Take over. You. Yes.
We out here.
Represent us well.
Right.
Good luck. Good luck with that. But yeah, I am. I'm working. I'm excited about it. Next year is really, really promising. I obviously can't talk about a bunch of stuff because of NDAs and good stuff like that. But I'm on a road to elevation and I am excited and I'm nervous. I'm gonna still have to pee. Just know that. Please know that's never gonna go away. The second that I don't have to pee, I'm gonna stop doing it because that means I don't respect it. But right now, stomach's still bubbling. I'm still excited. So next year, y'all be on the watch out. And let me just say this, Jamie. One of the highlights of this year is sitting here in this interview with you guys. This is a big deal for me. It really is. Because you all are what I consider elite. Like, this is a big stinking deal. So thank you guys for having little old me on. Because now when I put this on my resume and my fact sheet, hello.
Price goes up.
I need them to know. I need them to know who I am.
You know, that's so kind of you to say. We really appreciate the warmth and genuine comment that you've shared with us and the sentiment you've shared with us. So thank you for that. You honor us with your presence.
Yes, I'm honored.
Yeah, I mean, all the way from Texas, we are hearing about you and the wonderful work you're doing. So to have you with us, thank you. Okay. And our audience, I'm sure, is all the better for it. You said something about being on stage and the impact of the sensitive audiences. You didn't say it specifically that way. That's what I took from it. But audiences are very sensitive now. The cancel culture is a real thing. And so I know you're not a psychologist as far as I know, right? what do you attribute the sensitivity of audiences when they're going to a comedy show? What do you attribute that to?
It is so frustrating for a creative to have to second guess what they know is great material for the sake that someone is offended. And it's normally people are offended because of what's said, but not because it affects them directly. But it's like, oh, that's offensive. Like, you can't say nothing about fat people. That's offensive to fat people. And you're not even fat. Like, we are so woke and so angry and so, we've gotten to a place where we're fact checking everything. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with the social media that we have access to, because now everybody's a reporter. Everybody with a microphone has a podcast, and it's like the influence that we are, being driven by. It's almost like a scare tactic. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can't laugh at that. I might, people might think that I'm that way. Like, I say things on stage and I'm like, all right, I'm going to say this word. And if you laugh at this word, it doesn't mean that you've said it. It just means that the way that I've used it is funny. And it's okay for you to laugh. You don't have to second guess whether it's funny or not. But we've gotten to a place where we are picking people apart and making mountains out of molehills when we don't have to. I watched a clip the other day where Marlon Wayans is saying that they will make white chicks too, even if that means that they're going to try to cancel him. The funny is necessary. I stand behind it 100%. We have to get back to a place where we can laugh, because it's so much going on right now that we've forgotten how to do it. And I address, the way that I do it is I address it on stage, just like that. I understand that we're sensitive. I understand that we're living in a fact, in a time where we are checking facts and being careful of people's feelings. But right now, I want us to, like, I'll tell them right now, I'm madder than a midget with a yo-yo. And they will say, you can't say midget. You have to say little people. And I'm like, well, little people are children. They are midgets. Like, you have to be able to laugh at that because it's funny. You don't have to overthink it. Just laugh and be okay with it.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. We're going to use that answer across the spectrum. Anybody?
Yeah, I'm still in that too, because sometimes I say stuff on my podcast too. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Don't second guess it. Just understand that we have to, we have to be sensitive to certain things, but for the most part, understand that this is all make-believe. Everything that we're saying. If it happens to hit home, then all right. But if not, just sit back and laugh at it. And if it do hit home, just sit back and laugh at it.
Well, don't be blaming us for your guilty conscience.
Please don't. No, I got enough guilt right now. The fact that I don't have on the bottoms to match this top. Like, I'm guilty enough. I'm like, please don't let this camera fall down this way, because that's going to be dumb. But y'all all made up, got the good stuff on. Your tops is matching your bottoms. If we pull them down to these purple Puma joggers, y'all gonna be like, this woman is crazy.
That's just because we have to walk through this building on the way in and
right.
out.
Yeah, if I was in my house, I'd be in my drawers too. Don't worry.
See, that's what I respect. That's the part I respect about you. I knew it.
So, can you share your social media handles with us?
I can, and I'm hoping that everybody does follow. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. You guys can follow me at Correy B, and that's CORR, 2 R's, CORREY, B as in baby. YouTube is Correy Bell. Everything else is Correy Bell, but I'm hoping that you guys follow me, and I promise I'll follow back. I ain't famous yet. I'm just well known. I ain't got there yet. I'm working on it.
Yes, well, thank you for entertaining us little people. And thank you so much, Correy. Honestly, I mean, it's great to hear your story, but you shared so much insight into your journey. It's very inspiring, and I appreciate your honesty. And, you know, I think whenever you can talk about real life events, it's funny and it's relatable because you're saying the things that people want to hear. So thank you so much for sharing your story, inspiring people. And also for anyone, like I said, that's, like you said, you well known. We know you a little bit more than well known, but anyway, but the women that are looking at you like, oh my God, now Correy B, now I know her story. I feel like maybe I can do it too. So just thank you for inspiring those women that are coming after you as well.
Yeah, definitely. Whatever it is, I would much rather live with the fact that I did it, whether it panned out or not, than die with the fact of what if I would have tried this. So I'm going for all of it. And speaking to little people, that would be me, because I am talking to you guys. I love y'all. I'm so appreciative that you guys allowed me to share my story with you all. And I hope to talk to y'all soon.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll be better for it. We'll be better for it.
I'm going to come to Texas.
Come to Texas. We got space. Plenty of it.
And it's hot.
Yes, definitely.
At least it's in the 70s.
Your bones won't freeze on you out here anytime soon. We do something pretty unique on our show, and that is we allow each guest to name the episode that they appear on, since it's your special episode. So we're going to tap into that creative mind of yours and ask you, what would you like to call this episode that you've appeared on?
I would call this episode Fashionably Late.
Love it. Fashionably late.
Yes.
But still fabulous.
Fashionably late, but always best dressed.
Right. I love that. Love that.
And we start.
Now I don't know, because now I'm thinking organized chaos.
You know, you got to go with the first thing that pops into your mind.
Okay.
As a creator.
Well,
you know,
I'm fashionable and was a little late. I'm all right.
It works well. We started this program asking you to do something that's very controversial. Holly and I wanted you to cast a vote. So,
yes.
But hold on. Let me just say this. We don't actually need you to pick somebody, because if you do, the loser is simply going to ask for a recount. We're not going to accept the results. We're going to go all the way to the Supreme Court with this. So we don't actually need you to vote.
She
today.
loves us equally. She loves us. Me more.
And that was going to be it. You guys have both won me over, so it is a draw. You both won. And what y'all split the prize.
It's okay, Correy.
Wendy's 4 for 4.
I see it in your eyes. I see it.
Oh, see, now I have to unbutton my top too.
My God.
It would be good.
Come on.
So wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. You have a blessed day.
Thank you guys. Enjoy your holiday. Thank you all.
Thank you.